"Excuse me, but this clause is a trap," the poor girl said, and the CEO's smile instantly faded. The elevator doors slid open with a soft metallic sigh, and a girl in a worn-out denim jacket stepped out, clutching a folder that looked far too thin to matter in a place like this. Her name was Lila Dawson, 22, broke, hopeful, and trembling just enough that she hoped no one noticed. She'd grown up hearing that successful people could smell fear. Well, judging from the butterflies in her stomach, she was practically a public announcement. She was there for a job interview, a miracle opportunity, really, at a company she'd admired since she was a kid. She expected tough questions. She expected the pressure. But what she didn't expect, what no one could have predicted, was that her small act of kindness that morning would collide with a billionaire CEO in a way that would change both of their lives. Before the real story begins, here's a quick reminder: if you want more powerful, emotional stories like this one, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Your support really helps our community grow here at TruthLines USA. Now let's begin. Lila had arrived in the city just before dawn. She didn't sleep much the night before, not because she was nervous, but because the walls of her tiny apartment let through every sound from the street. When you lived above a 24/7 laundromat, life had a rhythm no alarm clock could compete with. But she wasn't thinking about her fatigue as she stepped into the towering glass building. She was thinking about the old woman she had helped earlier that morning, a frail stranger carrying 2 heavy grocery bags while struggling with an arthritic limp. Lila could have rushed past her. She had been running late. But something inside her, maybe her upbringing, maybe just instinct, told her to stop. She gently took the bags, walked the woman to her building, and even waited with her until the elevator came. 10 minutes lost. But she didn't regret it. What she didn't know was how those lost minutes would shape everything that happened next. Inside the company's reception area, surrounded by polished marble and air that smelled faintly of cedar and success, Lila felt painfully out of place. Others waiting for interviews wore tailored suits, sharp heels, watches worth more than her rent. She took the only seat left, right next to a tall man in a perfectly ironed shirt who scribbled notes furiously on a legal pad. He didn't look at her, but she sensed something like impatience radiating from him. She didn't think much of it. People in big companies always seemed rushed. When her name was called, her heart jumped. She followed the assistant down a long hallway to a conference room. Inside, sitting at the head of the table, was a man she recognized instantly, Miles Harrington, the youngest CEO in the industry, a self-made billionaire with a smile that could charm reporters and intimidate competitors. The assistant closed the door, leaving Lila alone with the man whose company could change her future. "Miles Harrington," he said, extending a hand. His handshake was firm, strong enough to make her swallow nervously but not strong enough to hurt. He gestured for her to sit. "I've heard interesting things about you," he began. Lila blinked. Interesting. They'd barely met. But before she could ask what he meant, he slid a thick packet across the table. "This is a standard hiring contract. I like to see how candidates respond to it. Take a look." She nodded, opening it. At first, it looked normal: salary, responsibilities, confidentiality. But then, halfway down page 3, she saw it. A clause that didn't make sense. A clause that could ruin someone who wasn't paying attention. "Excuse me," she said softly. Miles raised a brow. "This clause, it's a trap." For a moment, his charismatic smile froze. The air changed, as if someone had lowered the temperature 2 degrees. "Go on," he said. Lila hesitated, but honesty had always been her first language. "It says if the company ever claims that an employee violated their ethical alignment policy, the employee owes a restitution fee. And the company decides the amount. That isn't legal. Or fair." Miles leaned back, studying her. "Most candidates don't catch that." "Well, it's wrong," she said, her voice almost apologetic. "I'm sorry, sir, but it is." His expression grew unreadable. "Do you know why that clause is there?" She shook her head. "It's bait," he said. "A way to see who's willing to sell their integrity for a paycheck." She swallowed. Did I pass your test?" Instead of answering, he asked, "Why did you help her?" The question hit her like a splash of cold water. "Help who?" she blurted. The elderly woman you walked across 9th Street this morning. Her stomach tightened. You saw that? He nodded. She's my grandmother. Lila's jaw went slack. Miles continued, I was the guy at the bus stop across the street, waiting for my driver. I watched you drop your backpack, kneel next to her, help her stand straight, and talk to her gently as you carried her bags. You had an interview at 8:30. It was 8:24 when you stopped. You didn't know she was related to anyone important. You didn't know anyone was watching. That matters. Lila suddenly felt her cheeks warm. She needed help. That's all. Miles tapped the contract. Kindness and competence. Two things you don't see together as often as you'd expect. He stood, walked to the window, and said something she hadn't expected in her wildest dreams. You're hired. Her breath caught. She looked down at the contract, still open to the unfair clause. Should I sign this version? Miles turned around, his expression gentle in a way she hadn't anticipated. No. I'll have legal bring you a real contract. A fair one. A soft laugh escaped her before she could stop it. Thank you. But the story could have ended there, and it didn't. Because kindness, like a pebble in a pond, keeps sending ripples. A week into her new job, Lila was walking through the lobby when she spotted a janitor struggling with a cleaning cart whose wheel had jammed. Without thinking, she bent down and helped realign it, talking with him for a minute before rushing upstairs. She didn't know the security cameras caught it. She didn't know Miles watched those tapes once a week to learn more about the people working under him. He saw her again, kneeling to help someone who needed it without expecting anything back. He called her into his office the next day. You helped another person, he said. She shrugged. He needed help. You do that a lot. I guess, she said. I mean, I was raised that kindness is free. And it matters. Miles smiled, not his CEO on TV smile, but a tired, grateful one. You remind me of someone. My mother. She passed a few years ago. She used to say the same thing. Lila's heart softened. I'm sorry for your loss. He nodded. Thank you. Then he surprised her again. I'd like to give you an additional role here. Something small but important. I want you to be part of a new initiative, one focused on employee well-being. Fairness. Compassion in leadership. Her breath hitched. Me. But I'm new. That's exactly why, he said. You're not shaped by this place yet. You still see people as people. And I need someone like that around here. Lila left his office with her heart pounding, her mind spinning, and her soul shining just a little brighter. But here's where the story truly turns. A few months later, the company faced a crisis, a legal issue caused by a former executive. Rumors flew through the office, worry spread like wildfire, and tension filled the air. One afternoon, Miles looked stressed, overwhelmed, and more human than he'd ever looked before. As he walked out of his office, he found Lila waiting. You okay? She asked quietly. He tried to nod it off, but she stepped closer. Sit, she said gently, guiding him to a nearby chair like she had done with his grandmother months earlier. Breathe, she whispered. He did. Slowly. Deeply. And then she said the words that every leader needs to hear sometimes, you're not alone. People trust you. People believe in you. And kindness isn't weakness, Miles. It's strength. You taught me that without meaning to. A faint smile softened his stress. Maybe I needed to hear that today. I know, she said. It was a simple moment. But powerful. Because kindness doesn't need grand gestures. Sometimes it's just sitting next to someone who pretends they're fine. Sometimes it's reminding them that being human is allowed. Months passed. The company stabilized. And one sunny Friday morning, during the annual staff meeting, Miles stepped onto the stage with a surprising announcement. He called Lila forward. She came to this company with nothing but honesty and a heart that refuses to shrink, he said to the crowd. She has changed this workplace more than she realizes, all through kindness. Lila's eyes filled with tears as applause echoed around her. She wasn't used to being center stage. She wasn't used to being recognized. But she stood there, proud.